Welcome back to Nikolai's Comic Corner, classic known classics. This episode number 1949 and Doubleshot number 1843. I have a Green Arrow trade and the final trade of a trade series related to Batman and Superman. First up is Green Arrow Volume 2, Here Be Dragons, which collects issues from Green Arrow Volume 2, issues 7 through 12. Now, the writing, and this is still part of Mike Grohl's 80-issue run with Ed Hannigan on the artwork with Dick Jordan. I'll probably do some inking here. Now, most of these issues, it's all focused on Shadow. Yeah, this is actually, I believe, her first appearance since the Longbow Hunters miniseries. This is basically her return. You kind of get an explanation of why she dresses the way she does, why her arm is exposed with a dragon tattoo. Like, we get a little bit of explanation for her backstory. And we also, these issues also noteworthy for the last time we'll see in this volume, with the exception of something happened toward the end of the run. The last time we see Green Arrow wear a mask. Because from like issue 10 forward up until, I know 10 forward is it basically, oh, that reference Star Trek? No, from 10 to about like toward the end of the book. Oliver Queen, when he goes out wearing his Green Arrow costume, he does not put on his mask. Nope. He just puts on the outfit, just goes out. That's that. Yep. And also in this book, he gets shot in the chest by Shadow, which of course she heals up, and they kind of begin a brief romance. And the first time they sleep together is when he's having a high fever. Yes. The thing is, he thinks he's sleeping with the Black Canary, but actually he's sleeping with Shadow. Yes. This actually confirms, in a way, that Green Arrow, in these issues by Mike Grohl, Green Arrow got raped by Shadow. Well, he had sex with him without his consent. And this kind of leads to a brief romance with him and Shadow. And by the end of the book, he's back with Black Canary. Now, of course, also starting with the second year of the book, they do this thing where, like, for a period of, for the summertime, the book goes publishing from once a month to twice a month for big summer story arcs, which we'll get more into that in the very next Comic Corner. But in the case of this particular trade overall, it's really good. Oh, and by the way, in case you're curious though, like how much time passes by with these ones? Well, we start from August 1988, and we go to for issue 12, it's basically up until like winter, probably a winter in 1988, possibly. Oh, here's a little fun fact for you. This like Mike Grohl does not do the interior artwork. He does do the cover artwork. Yes. The cover of the trade is of Ed Hannigan, but the cover art for all these issues are done by Mike Grohl himself. Yeah, a lot of time they are, but this pretty good here. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. It's just really good. Alright, next up we have the final trade for Batman Superman Volume 2, The Archive World. This is the third trade for this one. And it's the only trade that collects the run by Gene Lung Yang, art by Ivan Reyes. Now, Archive World, it's basically collects issues 16 to 22 and the 2021 annual for the series. Sadly enough, why is this the final trade, and why is this the only one by this writer? Because the series ended last year with this particular story arc. Why, you might ask? I have no idea. It's by far something that was completely baffling me. This book just changed writers. And look at this actually is one of two books that DC canceled last year. The other one being Superman. Yes. Now, Superman they canceled, just replaced with Superman Son of Kal-El. Fine, but this book, I don't know what the reason was for this one. I mean, the Josh Whedon one was fantastic. I love that run. 15 awesome issues. Really good. I loved it. This book in particular, it's still good. I gotta hand it to Gene Lung Yang. This is, I believe, the third series I've seen. Actually, it's the third? Yeah, third series I reviewed by this guy, because The first being Action. I believe he was actually the second to last writer for Superman Volume 3 before it got relaunched under Peter DiTomasi. He did New Superman title. He did this book. And I believe he's also in Terrifics as well. I have not reviewed Terrifics yet, but this technically is the third time I reviewed for. It's kind of like a film strip with this one, and you see kind of like Batman, Superman, the golden age of comics. Well, especially as we have Superman in his old golden age logo, with Batman in his old logo too. But this book, pretty fun. I love the artwork by Ira Reyes. It's just an absolute really good book. And sad this is the end of this series. Well, this series got replaced a year later with Batman Superman World's Finest. Excuse me. But did Gene Luen Yang write the book? No, the book is written by Mark Waid. And the book is awesome. Yes. Now, when this book came back originally, I'm trying to think. The book came out back in 2018. I think, yeah, it came out as part of that stuff related to the Year of the Villain stuff. Josh Williams himself did an absolutely fantastic job with this book. The first story arc was heavily part of that particular event. And then, like, right afterwards, we did their own stuff afterwards. But the book was really good and consistent. And I think he had just done the book. I think he was writing the book at the same time he was working on the book for Flash. And just by sheer coincidence, his run for this book ended the same time his run for Flash. Currently, he's the writer for Justice League right now, who's on his second. He's on his second run for Justice League because the first run he did that you can kind of consider to be kind of a run, though actually the third time he's actually right currently. The first time was part of the Dark Knight Metal crossover. I think it was Gotham Resistance. The second time was a tie-in to Dark Knight Death Metal. Now he's doing Death of Justice League right now for the book right now. Yep. But in the case of my final thoughts overall for the Batman Superman second volume. Really good. Not a bad issue, the whole series. I felt really good reading every single issue. It was exciting. Something a book like this should be. It had the essence a little bit of what people liked about the Superman Batman title. That old book that I can't back in 2011. Even though this book kind of fell off a bit, it had some good high points. This book felt like that book. It was awesome. Now, in the case of the previous volume for the series, where I believe it was Greg Pak was the original writer, though it did have one issue done by Jeff Lemire, but mostly put Greg Pak was the original writer for the book for a while, up until the final day of Superman storyline. That book wasn't bad. No, the writing was actually pretty good in the book. The problem was basically the inconsistent artwork throughout that run. This book actually had consistent artwork, where it wasn't changing every story arc just apparently for no reason at all. And, well, just really good there. Though in the case of that book that explored the multiverse aspect, this one, not really. It's basically all centered on Batman and Superman. And, of course, the only reason why that previous title originally, money. And it probably sold really well, too. The book lasted for, if I remember correctly, I think it lasted for 32 issues, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the previous volume did. And this one was only like 10 issues shorter. Now, here's the strange thing. I've been trying to get my hands on this trade physically, but the problem is the price has been too high. It's like over $20. Like, I'm not paying that from Amazon. If I want to give Amazon, I'd rather basically pay under $20. But the price went lower, so I just basically got on here, and well, yeah, got the book now, and now the series is completed. Yes, sadly enough, the only other title I got canceled last year has now fully been reviewed. First it was Superman, now it's this title. And if we think about it, as of right now for DC, I have reviewed a majority of the titles that came out last year for DC. I think maybe the only titles I haven't reviewed are some of the miniseries. I reviewed the miniseries for DC that came out last year, but I think as of right now, anything ongoing, as of right now, I pretty much all reviewed that came out last year, except for, I believe there was the second trade for Green Lantern haven't reviewed yet, but everything else I pretty much got out of the year 2011. Yep. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much a particular review. Stay tuned next for my reviews for news chapters of My Hero Academia and Black Clover, along with Homer Comic Corner. Okay, next video. Bye.